So now I've been waiting for these congressional hearings because accurate information was being censored on social media about COVID. And we were one of the only shows that stuck their neck out to tell the truth about COVID. We told the truth about the vaccines. We told the truth that you can't vaccinate your way out of this pandemic. And we were telling people that almost 2 years ago. Starting in the summer of 21, we started telling people that you can't vaccinate your way out of this. And that's why mandates are ridiculous, because vaccines don't stop the transmission or contraction of the virus, although they are safe and effective, and they certainly do slow the transmission.
Yeah, whatever the hell that means.
Whatever it means, it says they. But that's why, so we were...
the inevitable virus.
Yeah. So it does slow the transmission and
Great.
contraction. And that's why I was against mandates, and we were on the side of the worker, just like Jeremy Corbyn was, and we opposed mandates, and people called me anti-vax for that. And they still do. I was right about the mandates. I was right about natural immunity. I was right about herd immunity. I was right about the origin of the virus. I was right about masks.
You know what I call anti-vaxism?
What?
Stochastic racism.
That's right. And so now they're finally they're questioning these people. So this is Representative Nancy Mace. I think she's from South Carolina, and she's going to go after him because remember Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who we had on this show? I think he's from Stanford, and all these great Martin Kuloff also on the show. They're going to bring up his tweet, and they were censored from Twitter. And here we go.
Files were not just about Hunter Biden's laptop. Twitter files make it apparent Twitter worked overtime to suppress accurate COVID information. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya is a professor of medicine at Stanford who once tweeted an article he wrote about natural immunity. Thanks to Elon Musk's release of the Twitter files, we learned some of his tweets were tagged with the label of Trends Blacklist. Apparently, the views of a Stanford doctor are...
So he was on a Trends blacklist. So whatever he tweeted, they would never let it trend. They would suppress it from being seen by people. That's what that means. Isn't that interesting? A Stanford doctor. Isn't that interesting? It starts with Alex Jones, then it goes to a Stanford doctor.
Yeah, it's crazy that Alex Jones got to that doctor and turned him bad.
So here she is. She's grilling the guy who was in charge of the censoring. Watch this.
Disinformation to you people. I, along with many Americans, have long-term effects from COVID. Not only was I a long hauler, but I have effects from the vaccine. It wasn't the first shot, but it was the second shot that I now developed asthma that has never gone away since I had the second shot. I have tremors in my left hand, and I have the occasional heart pain that no doctor can explain, and I've had a battery of tests. I find it extremely alarming Twitter's unfettered censorship spread into medical fields and affected millions of Americans by suppressing expert opinions from doctors and censoring those who disagree with the CDC. I have great regrets about getting the shot because of the health issues that I now have that I don't think are ever going to go away. And I know that I'm not the only American who has those kinds of concerns. Another example of what Twitter...
Those are rare.
How many Americans?
Why even bring them up? So rare.
To censor folks is from Dr. Martin Kulldorff, a Harvard-educated epidemiologist who once tweeted, COVID vaccines are important for high-risk people and their caretakers. Those with prior natural infection do not need it, nor children.
So that's a pretty strong tweet. He said, those at risk need to get a vaccine. Those with prior infection and children do not need a vaccine. That's what he tweeted, a Harvard doctor.
Just because they don't need it doesn't mean they shouldn't get it.
That's right. They should get it a lot.
The Twitter files reveal this tweet was deemed false information because it ran contrary to the CDC.
It was deemed false. And so they censored it.
So my first question this morning of Ms. Gaddy, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school? I did not go to medical school.
Oh, she didn't go, what? So, but you know, she's the censory lady who was lying on Joe Rogan about Russiagate and stuff. And she's the head censorer. I think she made $15 million a year, by the way.
Yeah.
Didn't she get she got some crazy salary from Twitter? Could you find out how much she made?
You know what? I bet there isn't anything in the Twitter files of her feeling conflicted about the censorship. Like you all had a few conflicted feelings. This chick, I bet you had none.
So she asked her, what makes you think you can censor a Harvard and a Stanford doctor? Are you a doctor? Did you go to medical school? And here she says,
I did not go to medical school. I'm sorry? I did not go to medical school. That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing...
They're trying to protect individuals. That's why they had to censor doctors from Stanford and Harvard she knows nothing about. She knows nothing about virology, science, medicine, nothing. But she's going to take it upon herself to censor those people who are, because she's going to protect you. That's what every dictator says. I'm protecting you from the bad ideas.
And I only make $15 million a year to do it.
According to 2021, she got $17 million that year.
$17 million.
And all you gave me was a measly $17 million to protect you.
She got $17 million to censor people at Twitter. No wonder
I am a vaccine.
No wonder she looks so good.
Yeah.
God, I'd have great skin too like that if I got $17 million.
Yeah.
You get a skincare team to come in and take care of you.
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices. My next question is, did the U.S. government, I have another chart I want to show you, Ms. Gaddy. I have another tweet by someone with a following of a full 18,000 followers. This person put a chart from the CDC on Twitter. It's the CDC's own data, so it's accurate by your standards.
They put a chart directly from the CDC up on their Twitter feed, and they censored it.
And you all labeled this as misleading. You're not a doctor, right, Ms. Gaddy?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What makes you think you or anyone else at Twitter have the medical expertise to censor actual, accurate CDC data?
I'm not familiar with these particular situations.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not. But this is what Twitter did. They labeled this as inaccurate. It is the government's own data. It's ridiculous that we're even having to have this conversation today. It's not just about the laptop. This is about medical advice that expert doctors were trying to give Americans because social media companies like Twitter were silencing their voices. I have another question, my last one for you, Ms. Gaddy. Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
We have a program.
Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone
yes
at Twitter?
Or no,
We have a program where the government tells us what to do. And then we do it. And then we post it on another website that nobody ever heard of. So it pretends like we're transparent. Watch, that's what she'll say.
To censor or moderate certain tweets, yes or no?
We receive legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government and governments all around the world. Those are published on a third-party website, and anyone can review
Thank God for Matt Taibbi. Thank God for Elon Musk for allowing to show us in the world that Twitter was basically a subsidiary of the FBI, censoring real medical voices with real expertise that put real Americans' lives in danger because they didn't have that information. I also want to thank one of my colleagues, Rokana, because as it turns out, censorship isn't just an important issue to conservatives. Some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, like Ro, found this censorship very concerning, and even wrote to you and the folks at Twitter that he was concerned about the First Amendment being censored. So I want to thank him for speaking up and speaking out about this issue, because this should not be a partisan issue. This should be an issue that's an American issue. Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a Wall Street Journal article from December 9th, 2022 by Justin Hart entitled "The Twitter Blacklisting of Jay Bhattacharya." Enter the record, please, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
So that was fun for me to watch. Are you a doctor? What makes you think you could censor this guy?
Well, she didn't have that confident smirk shit on Rogan's show,
No.
did she?
No, she didn't. No. So the jig is up. All those people were exposed as hacks, meaning partisan hacks. They're just partisan hacks, and they did what the FBI said, and the FBI is the establishment, and the FBI doesn't like MAGA. They don't like Trump. They got to get rid of them, and that's what they did.
Should do a day in the life of, those TikToks of their great tech job. Where like, first I go and get an espresso.
Then I start censoring.
Yeah, then I go read my list of FBI requests to censor. Then I have a massage.
Doing live stand-up comedy in Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member. Get access to all our content.